I'd been assigned to watch over biologics research team, so I once again found myself on the surface of SR-388. It was there that I was attacked by a life form I had never encountered before. I was only late. What do you. It was only later that I learned the identity of my attacker, the parasitic organism we now know as X. Unaware of my condition, I was returning to the station when disaster struck. Once the X had invested my central nervous system, I lost consciousness and my ship drifted into an asteroid belt. The ship's emergency systems automatically ejected the escape pod before impact. Biologics vessel recovered it and transported me to Galactic Federation HQ. However, during the journey, the X multiplied within me, corrupting large areas of my power suit. Then came to light that the organic components of my power suit had become so integrated with my system that it could not be removed while I was unconscious. Large portions of my suit had to be surgically removed, dramatically altering my physical appearance. However, the X in my central nervous system were too embedded to be removed safely. I was given a minimal chance of survival. Then someone found a cure. They proposed using a Metroid cell to make an anti-X vaccine. It seems that the Federation had managed to preserve a cell culture from the last infant Metroid from SR-388. The serum was prepared and injected without delay. The X-parasites were immediately and completely destroyed. As for me, one life ended, yet I survived, reborn as something different. Pondering this fact, I realized I owe the Metroid hatchling my life twice over. We'll soon be arriving at the BSL research station. I must prepare for docking. The ship's computer has notified me of our approach to the Biologic Space Labs, or BSL research station. During my surgery, the research team sent the last batch of creatures we captured there, as well as the infected pieces of my power suit. After regaining consciousness, I learned that an unexplained explosion rocked the station for some reason. This awoke a nameless fear in my heart, and now I am being sent there to investigate. My mission on the BSL station will be overseen by my new ship's computer. Following the commands of this blunt, computerized CO is something I have to bear, as it was a condition of my taking the ship. For someone who dislikes taking orders, this is the second time I've found myself having to do so. Makes me recall my other CO. There's been an explosion in the quarantine bay. The bay currently stores capsules containing recent samples from SR-388 as well as parts of your suit infected by the X-parasites. Cause of the explosion is as yet unclear. Investigate. The quarantine bay is here. Move quickly and quietly. You are still unable to use most of your latent abilities. Don't forget that, Samus. Stop at the navigation room or along the way. Uplink there is your objective clear. Now go to the quarantine bay. Alright, so this is Metroid Fusion. It's one of my favorite games on the Game Boy Advance, and I learned from incredibly talented speedrunners like C. Scotty and JRP that it is actually based off of the engine from a Wario game. The hang is a new mechanic. And this game is also using the same engine that they wound up using for Metroid Zero Mission, which is another game that I hope to be able to play on the channel. It's not going to be a speedrun because I'm not talented, but it will be 100% if I can get that, so hopefully that's just as fun to watch. Quarantine Bay is ahead. Biosigns are confirmed. Be careful. But, as the game said, we don't have any of our latent abilities, so we can't Morph Ball, which makes areas like this impassable. Also notice that the doors are currently locked. See? No doors. This is unfortunate news. The specimens brought back by the field team were infected by X parasites. The X can mimic its prey. Any specimen could have hosted it. Before the explosion, a security sensor scanned one. Gelatinous X parasites invade and rapidly reproduce, killing the host creature. They also absorb DNA and use it to mimic the host. You were almost killed by an X parasite. Only the Metroid vaccine saved your life. It seems that Metroids were the main predators of the X. That's why the vaccines work so quickly and so well. But it'll also change your cellular makeup. You will never be infected by X again. In fact, you can now absorb any free-floating X parasites without a host by merely touching them. This will allow you to replenish health and restore weapons. You can also restore latent abilities this way, so pursue any free X parasites whenever you possibly can. The station is home to many species, some violent ones. We must keep the X out of the breeding environments at all costs. This is vital, Samus. I'm already detecting biosigns in this area. The X are gathering. This may be our chance to exterminate them, but you are only at 10% battle capacity. Your chance of survival is extremely low. Federation needs you alive and on duty, Samus. Is your objective clear? Now get going. I have released the lock on level 0 hatches. Look for the blinking hatches. So we can't go that way yet, but we can open the silver doors. Not those. These are the new save stations. They do not restore health, just like the save stations in Metroid 2, but there's usually a recharge station nearby. I've received news from HQ. They support you with downloadable weapons data. Once you have this data, you'll be able to use missiles. This will help against some of your enemies your beam can't hurt. Head to the data room for the download. The data room is here. Is your objective clear? With missiles, your survivability chances climbs to 20%. That computer reminds me of a Gruff Federation CO I served under named Adam Malkovich. He called me lady on missions. From anyone else it would have sounded sarcastic, but Adam made it sound dignified. Out of respect and with some irony, I named the computer after him. Alright, so like I said, these are the recharge rooms. Save room. If we were missing any health, we could refill it there. Color interference has knocked out the elevators on the main deck. May be related to the X, I'll work on it. As for you, try and find another way to the target. It's located here. I'm reading huge biosigns, so I hope your missiles work. To reload missiles, you can use a recharge room or absorb a special type of X parasite. You'll see them. Try it out. Missiles are your only hope. Don't hesitate to use them. Now find a way to the target. So when the X are glowing like that, you can't absorb them to keep them from doing whatever it is they're doing. We are going to be cowardly and we're going to save before all the bosses, just so that I don't wind up fighting them multiple times. So, the eye doors. Eye doors are, if you speedrun this game, pretty much the decision about whether or not you're going to have a good run, because they are entirely random. The randomness in this game is incredibly defined. There's a really complicated equation that's essentially based off of your X and Y coordinate on the screen and other things X and Y coordinates on the screen as to how they're going to behave. That's the recharge room. Damn it, it's as I feared. The breeding environments have been invaded by X-parasites. Sector 1, SRX, shows several abnormalities on bioscan. Sector 1 is a simulation of the SR-388 ecosystem. To get there, take the main elevator to the access shafts and use elevator 1. Is your objective clear? I'm not sure, but I think whoever let the X-parasite into the environment might also be linked to the earlier explosion. And we are instructed... Oh. To use the navigation room inside of Sector 1 in order to get our next briefing. The elevator leading the access shaft has been severely damaged. It will be temporarily unusable for some time. The unknown agent is at work, something very powerful, certainly not human. I'll report when I know more. Now listen carefully. The X in Sector 1 have invaded the atmospheric stabilizers. They must want to alter the environment to suit their needs. They're already reproducing. Clear all 5 atmospheric stabilizers to stop them. Now get moving. Oh, holy crap. It's a Kazuto B. And an Omax. I'm still kind of processing how I feel about the ending, so I'm not really sure yet. I think on the whole, like, within the context of the story, the ending fits really well. There were a couple of scenes during the credits that I really liked. I don't want to talk too much about it for people who haven't played it yet, but it's one of those things that I think was, on the whole, a very good experience. But again, it's definitely a very... Huh, didn't see that coming. But yes, if you're not following Omax or Kaz, I think I got both of them a shout out. Nope, I missed Omax. What are you doing with your life? Clearly you're not watching people play games like 13 Sentinels otherwise. 36 seconds. Sorry, Omax, you get a ghetto shout out. There we go. Alright. We just started. I'm maybe a half hour in. Alright, that's a Red X. Red Xers are awesome because they restore a lot of your health and your ammunition. Oh my goodness! Who could have ever seen that coming? Oh yeah, Fusion's a great game. It's not really that long to play through if you know what you're doing, and um, my morning routine actually is watching a Australian speedrunner named JRP2234, so named because he goes by JRP, and 2234 I believe is his speedrun time for the original Metroid. Does 100% runs of this every morning when I'm getting ready for work, so and that is a trick that I learned by watching him play. You don't actually have to go around, you can just shoot it from this side by shooting inside the sprite. Do not expect a lot of very cool tricks in this run. I don't know a lot of them, and I guarantee I don't know how to do most of them. But I will try to do all the ones that I can because they are very neat. Do. Wall jumping has kind of weird timing in Fusion. It's not impossibly hard to learn, but I'm not very good at it, so again, don't expect me to do it very often. We're just picking up missiles because my aim is bad. Alright, where are we going? One more floor. So, we will find out later in the game that apparently the reason that they were recreating SR-388 was for nefarious purposes. I know, the galactic government being nefarious. Such a hard thing to believe. But this is a game that I feel is maligned because people think that it's very linear, when I would say that it has a very strong structure at the beginning. And I don't feel that that's the same thing as being linear, because if you know how, there are some cool things you can do to go places you shouldn't early, but if you don't, it very much feels like the game leads you around quite a bit at the early going. But I am very excited to play through this and Zero Mission. Zero Mission, honestly, I would say is more linear than Fusion is, just because if you compare what you can do in the original Metroid to go places with what you can do in Zero Mission, it's not even comparable where you can go with what you have. But many exits have already made it to other sectors, it seems. In particular, Sector 2, Tropical, the tropical habitat, shows abnormalities. I suspect the X has entered this sector with the help of our unknown saboteur. He or it may be in Tropical now. Samus, get over there. We need to put an end to this. Start moving. I'll brief you at the Tropical Navigation Room. When I was talking about playing this earlier, I was joking with Omax that I should do a Gilbert Godfrey impression for Adam the Computer, but unfortunately, my voice is a little bit messed up, and I feel like I wouldn't do even a terrible impression very well, so we will pass for today and possibly do it next week, depending on how my voice is. As I listened to the briefing, my thoughts turned to Adam. The real Adam understood me well. He would end orders by saying, "Any objections, lady?" He knew I wouldn't disagree. That was just his way of noting our trust. I wonder if I can trust this computer, too. And you may think that there's nothing in this game that's related to the one that we just beat, but there is kind of a fun little Easter egg at the end of this game that I feel relates a little bit to 13 Sentinels, and we will get there when we get there. Ooh, foreshadowing. The other thing that's kind of funny about watching speedruns of this game is I actually know what all of the bosses in this game's names are. I honestly couldn't tell you a game I can do that with, you know, not counting the Mega Man games. Samus, I found out who our saboteur is. It's an X mimicking you. I have named it the saxophone. We will call it the alto sax. I believe that the alto sax came from the capsule containing your infected suit parts. Used a power bomb to escape the quarantine bay. That explosion breached the capsules containing all the X that started this disaster. But the Alto Sax is definitely our priority right now. The X is mimicking you at full power. You can't face it. If you see it, just run. Don't even think about fighting. You are still very vulnerable to cold, an unexpected side effect of the Metroid vaccine. Like Metroids, you can be frozen by an ice beam. Of course the SAX is armed with the ice beam. Stay away. If you see it, just run. HQ says they have bomb data ready for you in the data room. Bombs will help you find a way out if the SAX traps you. The data room is here, but it's sealed by a level 1 hatch. You'll have to find the security room and release the level 1 locks. But per safety protocols, it's not marked on the map. You'll have to find your own way, Samus. So first find the security room and unlock level 1 hatches, then go to the data room and get that bomb data. Is your objective clear? Keep an eye out for the Alto Sax. But the first boss, the one who gives us the Morph Ball, is named Arcanus, and he is actually a boss in Metroid 2. I get it, Jazz Fusion, because it's Metroid Fusion as well. Very clever. So, this is an enemy that we can't do anything with yet. Yep. The space jump boss is named Yakuza in this, and we are on our way to the combination Spring Ball and high jump boss, whose name is Zazaby. I have no idea why. I don't know if these names mean anything, but that is its name. Its name is Zazaby, and it is another massive point of RNG in the run because how its AI works. Going back to the RNG, Zazaby will actually jump a random number of times each phase that it's in, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But the RNG is based off of its position, your position, and actually like RNG counter, for lack of better terminology. The formula for it is honestly just fascinating, and JRP was nice enough to link it once in his chat, and I read through it and went, holy crap, all this for a video game. But essentially it's designed so that you can't use a Taz or something like that to cheat the RNG, because it's so hard-locked. And I don't know if I think that that's impressive or crazy, but why can't it be both? The thing that you learn here in this area is just how dangerous these little bugs are, and that eventually they will become even dangerous when they evolve into their flying form. I'm trying to remember. I think that there's a thing we can go through in the Morph Ball, but I either have to bomb it or it's higher up and I need Spring Ball to get to it. It's weird to come back to a game like this that I've beaten so many times and have a fairly solid grasp of where things are, and have even seen it recently because I watch a guy speedrunning this 2 or 3 times a week. But yet, at the same time, like, well, I don't know completely where we're going yet. If you are expecting me to do any kind of infinite bomb jumps, I don't know how. It's beyond my ability. Cheese strats? Oh, Max, we don't need cheese strats. We're good gamers. Cheese strats, come on. We'll just fight the bosses as intended. We got this. But if you notice, our door in has been broken. This is one of the few Metroid games I actually remember where they do destruction of the area. Oh, nice. We get a save point. So one of the things that kind of distinguishes the Metroid games that I find interesting is some of them are what we'll describe as missile Metroid games, and some of them are what I'll describe as a beam Metroid game. And it's pretty much which weapon is the most effective. And this is definitely a beam Metroid game. Despite the fact that I'm using missiles so much, it's because our beam starts off so weak. But when you start stacking them together, like the next beam we'll get after the charge beam actually makes us cover a fairly wide spread with it, so that makes it a lot easier to hit things. And then we get the wave beam, and the wave beam is a great beam, and has been ever since the first Metroid because it's so versatile. And then, as of Super Metroid, they added in the idea of, hey, what if the wave beam could not shoot through things necessarily, but can shoot through walls. And then we get the plasma beam and the game's over. Whee! But that blue, I don't know what their names are. I think the bees are called key hunters, but my memory's not 100% on a lot of things. That blue one will always drop a red X parasite, so if you're running low when you get to this area, it's not a bad idea to farm that guy just a little bit. No, this is the wrong way. Nope, this is the wrong way as well. This is it. Alright, so this is Zabi. Well, this is an eye door. Neat trick, if you don't know, a fully charged shot will instantly kill an eye door. So this is what I mean by sections. If you notice, he has little segments underneath his eyeball. And each one he can do a number of jumps. I think the maximum he can do in total is something like 13. So now each time this form jumps, it'll automatically do that. And I actually did something I didn't think I could do there, and that is I got a double. Each time you hit a core X, it's going to go into an invulnerable state, and that gives it a fair amount of time before you can actually hit it again. Well, that's not entirely true, because if your timing's really good, and mine was very good because of blind luck there, you can actually get 2 hits at the same time, and it will actually take 2 hits instead of just taking the 1 there. But you actually have to be good at this game, or very lucky. So if you notice, all of the little bees, or worms, have gone into cocoons. And since I saved, I'm going to try a trick that I don't know if I can get or not. But here's how it goes. Ta-da! Fast SAX. Alright, we're gonna recharge, and then I think I can go get that missile upgrade now. Because I can jump over the enemy who's blocking it. I just don't want to die because I did a cool trick and then die to doing something stupid. So where's the fun in that? There we go. Just a little bit of bouncy. What you're supposed to do is wait for a certain upgrade, and then that makes it getting really easy, but we'll do something stupid instead, because that makes getting it faster. Now, so we've got trouble. Releasing the security lock may have been a bad idea. The Altosax has invaded the water environment in Sector 4, Aqua, with several thousand X. With the blue hatches active, the Altosax slipped in easily. Those creatures and systems in Sector 4 are already showing multiple irregularities. I'm currently investigating. I'll brief you in the navigation room when you arrive. Now head for Sector 4. And our trips to these sectors will be multiple, because a lot of them play sometimes double and triple duty depending on where we are. The Altosax, an enemy with my strongest abilities. But does it have reason? Probably not. It's just a killing machine. In my current state, I can't face it head on. The Altosax is me, only heartless. I must stop it before it learns the potential and threatens the universe. So, if the Altosax is the heartless, Does that mean that eventually we're going to run into Samus's nobody? Oh, oh wow, it is a lot later than I thought it was. I thought we still had an hour. We're going to hit the navigation room here, and then the save point, and then we're going to find a run to raid. 'Cause I apparently am not able to read a clock today. This sector has taken more damage than expected. I know the X were powerful and destructive, but still. This seems to be purposeful. We certainly can't rule out the possibility that the SX has a high degree of intelligence. I find the X fascinating, especially this Alto Sax. But I disagree. This sector is home to a very large creature the researchers called Ceres. It is capable of moving and attacking at ultra high speed. The more senseless and widespread destruction here may be attributed to Ceres. No doubt the SAX released it, but I can't be sure why yet. Ceres has often returned to the breeding tank here. Its natural behavior must be to go back to it periodically. It's a valuable specimen, but you've been authorized to terminate it. If you don't, it may invade other sectors. I would think it would have to be, because if you've played through Metroid Prime, go ahead, I'll wait. We'll continue this conversation in 6 hours. At the very end of it, Metroid Prime actually steals Samus's suit. So it is an empty husk running around and committing evil deeds. So I would say that that's as much a nobody as anything can be. So yeah, that's a good call. So let's see what our friends are playing, because I've only got a couple on right now. Oh, it's the mid-month Mega Man X Marathon at Voxandra, so we are definitely going to give her a raid. Thank you for joining me. Tomorrow we'll be continuing more Fire Emblem. Next week, Saturday, we'll be back with more of this. And I honestly don't know what we're closer to the end of, because this will probably take me a little bit just because the puzzles to get all the items are a little bit tricky. But the plan is for after Fire Emblem, I'm going to start Ori and the Will-o'-the-Wisps, and I'm not sure what the next Saturday game will be. It depends on releases. But I'm going to try and keep it kind of loose, because even though it sounds like it's a ways off, it's already 2 weeks till the end of March, and then I think it's a week or two into April we get the Advance Wars remake, and I am really looking forward to playing through that. So, those are coming up. Thank you for joining me. Omax, thank you for 13 Sentinels. And let's go see how Vox is doing. Yeah, I could not be more excited to play through Advance Wars. I just hope that they decide to add romance options with Bomber Senpai and Tank Kun.